Welcome to Yeukai Business Show, UK's premier business show where we feature business thought leaders, high achievers, and industry experts. Today's episode is brought to you by World Outsourcing Solutions Limited, a company that specializes in helping executive business owners with virtual assistant services and business growth systems. Here's your host.
Hi everyone and welcome to the show. It's Trevor Stockwell here with you, and I'm really looking forward to talking to Jennie, our guest today. But before I introduce her, let me ask you this. Have you mastered the healthy balance of running your business without sacrificing your health? Are some days better than others at achieving this? That can be the case for me, I know that. Are there areas where you can make subtle changes and see consistent results? I think there is, because we're all looking to grow and improve our effectiveness. So the good news is that our guest today, she's passionate about helping business owners implement simple and manageable lifestyle changes that contribute to keeping things in balance. So stay tuned as we hear from a lady who's completed 22 years serving in the RAF. She's now a health coach and consultant, and she's the creator of the programs Frazzled to Fabulous and Giveit10, Jen. So welcome, Jennie Edmondson.
Hi, that's a great introduction. Thanks very much. It's good to be here.
That was great to have the opportunity to chat with you, and you can share with our audience. We always start with the guests to ask you to sort of share a little bit of your background, your journey that's got you from where you started to where you are. And I know you spent a good amount of time in the RAF, which is impressive by itself. And then you've had some kind of health struggles since then to get you to where you are. Do you want to share just a little bit about your journey so far?
Yes, absolutely. Oh, right. Just trying to keep it as short as possible as a thing. These things can be quite a story, can't they? But yes, so I left the Air Force. Well, I was in the Air Force for 22 years, operations, air traffic control, logistics. I had a fairly varied career. But the consistent thing throughout that was that my fitness, I had to get to a certain level of fitness to join the Royal Air Force and then maintain that fitness throughout my time. And what I realized is the stronger and healthier I kept myself, the more opportunities came my way and the more things that I could do and opportunities to travel and to be part of sports teams it was just fantastic. So when the time came to leave the Air Force, and I'd had 2 children by then, so it was time to leave and concentrate on being a mum, the Air Force basically train you to do something else. It's like leaving school all over again. It's like, what am I going to do when I grow up? I leave the Air Force and they're going to do some resettlement for me, and fitness had really become my passion whilst I was serving. So it seemed to make sense to come out and be a personal trainer because it was something that I figured I could do around my family. So I trained as a personal trainer, various qualifications along that line as well, GP referral specialist, pre and postnatal, as well as insanity instructor and spin instructor and all the good stuff that you do to then go and hit the gyms and start working with people. I'm not too sure how much more detail you want me to go along those lines, but that was kind of the journey to be a personal trainer in a small nutshell.
Yeah, no, that's good. As you mentioned insanity, I'm reminded of a friend I have who regularly kind of does the insanity workout, and he has a really good physique, and I don't do the workout. I'm not saying anything else, but yeah, he's a really good mate. I can see that it works for him. So, yeah, it's really good. But hopefully, in some of the things you're going to share today, we're all going to take some notes, put some stuff into practice that we either know and are not doing and you'll remind us, or there'll be nuggets that have come from your experience that we can think, I never thought of that. So, yeah, really looking forward to diving into the details of it. Maybe tell us a little bit about the 2 different programs that you do. So, Frazzled to Fitness.
Frazzled to Fabulous. Yeah. Yeah, sure. My journey as a PT has kind of evolved as my journey as a not aging woman. Sounds like I'm getting really old, but just in terms of when I first came out of the military, I qualified as a pre and postnatal, and I used to take ladies with their prams and their buggies and do postnatal boot camps along the prom where I live here and in the parks, which was lots of fun. Then I started working with people more one-to-one. Then I moved house a lot, and business took all sorts of different forms whilst we moved house 4 times in 4 years, and life was just chaotic. And then sort of coming through the other side of that, I'm now at a point where I'm going through the menopause, and I found that the ladies I work with and that are kind of attracted to work with me are going through similar struggles with hormones and time and being busy mums, and a lot of them are business owners as well, or part-time business owners, and they're just not having time to look after themselves. As I wasn't either, and along the way I picked up a few injuries and things, and I hadn't rehabbed them correctly, and I thought I need I was working with ladies one-to-one, but there were so many similarities between what we were all going through. I kind of developed Frazzled to Fabulous as a 10-week course to work with a group of women at a time, because as a personal trainer, working one-to-one is fabulous. But again, what I found is when you build a team working together and take them through a process together for that 10 weeks, that they really build a fantastic camaraderie. Better results because they're not only keeping themselves accountable to me, but they're keeping themselves accountable to each other as well. Yeah. So Frazzled and Fabulous kind of came through that. And I now run that 3 times a year in the school term. So January, April and September, because nobody wants to be doing these programs through the summer holidays.
Okay, so you've got one starting in April then, which is not that far away.
Not too far away. No, after you've overindulged on Easter eggs and you want to get ready for the summer holidays, then yeah, the next one's on the 26th of April. The ladies on my January course are midway through just now and getting some absolutely lovely results. So yeah, it's a really lovely way of working with a group of women, throughout the year and throughout the time they're on the course.
Yeah, that's really good. I know that, being a bloke, I can say this. I know there's a lot of demands on ladies' times and energy in lots of different directions, whether they are running a business or maybe even not. But more so, it gets exemplified if you're running a business as well. So you seem to manage those different elements well. So you're a mum, as you said. You are a business owner because you're doing this full time, and also, I suppose, because you've got a kind of a health-based business, maybe it's easier to tie in the activity of staying fit, kind of practicing what you're preaching because you're helping others and you're kind of doing it in the process. But is there an extra challenge in that? Is there more pressure to stay healthy yourself whilst delivering these programs and helping everybody else?
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a real kind of, you talk the talk, but can you walk the walk kind of thing with these things? And sometimes I get so engrossed in my business that I don't take good care of myself. And, I picked up my back injury whilst I was an insanity instructor, actually, because I was getting older and I hadn't appreciated the changes my body was going through, and coaching and instructing insanity many times a week and not really looking after myself. I picked up an injury, a back disc prolapse. So managing that over the years and trying to find time to train whilst trying to build my business has been a real challenge. And that's where my little hashtag, my little call sign, whatever you want to call it, Giveit10 came in, because I started to say to people when they said, look, Jen, I just haven't got time to train, I would say to them, well, just give it 10. And they said, what do you mean? I said, well, you know what, while the kettle's boiling, do 10 squats. Whilst you're, brushing your teeth, stand on one leg for 10 seconds on each leg. When you take the dog out for a walk and you pass the bench, why don't you 10 press-ups on it? If before you have your cup of tea in the morning, walk up and down a flight of stairs 10 times. Whilst you're sat down at the traffic lights, clench your butt cheeks 10 times, just little things I would say to people. And they started to call me Giveit10 Jen. Which is kind of stuck. It's now my Instagram handle is Giveit10 Jen. But and I started to think, there's really something in this, because for me as well, my rehab was going awry, and I thought if I try and fine tune it down to just 10 minutes a day or chunks of 10 minutes, that was really manageable rather than trying to do sort of half an hour or an hour of stuff that I had time for when I was in the military. I, didn't have any issue. I wasn't a mum. I wasn't in a relationship. I was just, I could go to the gym and beat myself for an hour at a time. And I thought I was invincible. But when I picked up injuries, I realized that actually just doing little things consistently was what was going to get me results. So rather than beating yourself once a week for an hour, doing a crazy session down at the gym, which potentially could be quite injury inducing, because actually break that down into 6-10 minute sessions a week, and you can really see some results because it's manageable. So whether it's 10 seconds or 10 repetitions of something or 10 minutes of something, that consistency is going to get you results.
Yeah. I like that. And what you said, I think a lot of the time we defeat ourselves because we aim for a big chunk of time at the gym, and it's a lot of the time it's just not sustainable with other stuff that we're doing, particularly if we're early on in running a business or we're scaling it up and in the process of kind of getting more people on board and that type of thing. There's a lot more demands, and you kind of feel that, well, it'd be really nice to do that, but it's not a high priority. Whereas in actual fact, if we suddenly then become unwell, being unfit seems to have a knock-on effect later in life, particularly. I think you can navigate a fair few years and decades. I think we're amazingly made in the sense of the body will withstand a lot of potential, if you want to call it abuse, as in slight neglect over a long period of time. Then eventually it says, right, I can't do it anymore. I've had enough, and things start to show. Whereas what you're helping us to see is more, it doesn't need to be hours at a time, but it's the consistency, isn't it? I know, like, consistency compounds. So I'm not going to get six-pack abs by doing 4 hours of sit-ups once. Do you know what I mean? But if I do X amount, like you say, 10 a day, or, you know, however many small amounts, but consistently, yeah, things develop really well. And I think from business owners, we realize that when it comes to building our brand, when it comes to sort of networking, getting more contacts, we know it's a gradual thing that you have to stay consistent at to really see the benefits. And yet in some ways we then don't translate that same methodology with regards to our health. I mean, if you can go and run 10K a day or whatever, and that's a good amount for you, go for it. We're not saying don't do that, but don't wear yourself out trying to stay fit, isn't it? I think that's the...
Absolutely. People really overthink fitness. Now, if you've got a goal and you want to run a marathon or you want to do something in particular, fine. But I think for the vast majority of us, just staying, maintaining a level of fitness is all we can hope for a lot of the time. You know, I think there are times in a year when you want to maybe push for 8, 10, 12 weeks or something towards a goal, maybe have that kind of time when you really push. But for the rest of the year, keep it consistent. You know, well, how can you kind of maintain those results you've got? Because I think having six-pack abs is such an unrealistic thing for people to aim for. And, you know, it's just, I get so frustrated when you see on social media, you know, the one secret thing you have to do to get six-pack abs. I mean, it's just, I don't want to swear, but it's just rubbish. There's no one secret thing. There's no secrets in the fitness industry, really, no matter what these gurus will tell you. It's just, you know, little things done consistently, you know, eating well, drinking water, reducing caffeine, reducing sugar and other things that are inflammatory to our system, and just little things done consistently. People overthink it all the time. They think they need to be following some really complicated, workout schedule. They need to be following some really complicated diet stuff and we just don't have time, you know. And the people I see, you know, businessmen and women, like we said at the start, they don't have time for this stuff. They want to get in, they want to do something, they know that works, and get out again. Yeah. And that's what I try and coach my ladies and gents with, in terms of, you know, simple food, simple moves, little things done consistently. Where can we make some little tweaks that actually, little things you do consistently well has great results. Little things you do consistently bad also have results. Yeah. And little things you do consistently bad that compounds over time, that then suddenly we realize when we're 50, 60, 70, we can't get up off the floor. We can't do the things we thought we always took for granted.
Yeah. Yeah, like our muscles atrophy, don't they, if we don't use them to some extent.
Absolutely.
As anything, as well as kind of heart health and things like that. Not that I'm an expert, but these are the things. I do have quite an interest in health, and kind of, I do get to the gym at the right time when it's kind of feasible. I enjoy that, and working out. If I'm not in the gym, I can do different things when I'm at home as well. I think you mentioned about the nutritional side of it as well. which is also key, isn't it? If you do lots of exercise, but you're only putting kind of less than optimum foods in your body, you're not giving it the right sort of fuel to then replenish and to recover and to build kind of muscle and health that way. So you did touch on sugar and caffeine. So elaborate a little bit more on that. What would be a good kind of balance? Just cut sugar out of coffee and that's fine, or
nutrition is such a huge subject, isn't it? But what I say to people is let's look at the kind of the 5 things that we know that kind of cause inflammation in the body and cause problems. And we're all different, and we're all genetically made up different. Our body can process different compounds differently. But again, we can overthink this and over analyze it. But on the whole, reducing caffeine, reducing alcohol, reducing sugar and dairy and wheat has positive benefits for just about everybody. To say we can overthink these things and go on crazy diets to cut out, these food groups for a long period of time or whatever, but it's just not sustainable a lot of the time. And this is what I say to people is only start something if you can sustain it long term, because the results you see, some people bounce back and put more weight on, or some people just, can't sustain those ways of living. So just start something that you can sustain. And simple things like, so take caffeine, for example. One lady I worked with was drinking huge amounts of caffeine, as I used to actually when I was younger in the Air Force. Everything revolved around having a brew, and just and mostly, having a brew and then having a beer at the end of the day. But certainly caffeine, I say to people, cut out the caffeine after lunchtime. So stick to, 1 or 2, at the most 2 preferably, caffeinated drinks a day, but keep them before lunchtime, and then wean yourself off in the afternoon, because people think that they can handle caffeine well, but it quite often shows up in sleep and energy. People think they might get to sleep quite well, but they don't sleep deeply, and the caffeine is still in their system, affecting the depth of their sleep, and you're not getting into that deep sleep that we really need to for our body to recover and regenerate overnight. So people think that they're not affected, but actually they might be affected at a level they're not quite aware of, and it's affecting their energy levels. And say one lady I cut out, one of the only things we did was cut out caffeine and get her on more water. And a couple of weeks later, she was going, I can't believe the difference. I cannot believe the difference. I'm feeling so much better,
Yeah.
And sugar, again, huge subject. But, the thing is with sugar, we don't need it. We do not need it in our diet, but of course we like it, and we're evolutionarily programmed to gorge on it. Yeah. Back in the caveman days, we are programmed to overeat it for energy, and of course now we get that way, and it's very difficult to just have one biscuit or one sweet, because we get that taste, and before you know it, the whole packet's gone. Yeah. So it's. Willpower is a tough thing to deal with, because it does wear out. Generally, it wears out about mid-afternoon. It lasted that long. But yeah, so willpower alone is not going to see you through it. So, I say to people, just don't buy that stuff. Don't have it in the house. If you know you're going to overeat it, don't have it in the house. Yeah. I'm not saying give it up, because yes, absolutely give it up if you think you can and you want to, and you can sustain that long term. But who doesn't love a birthday cake? Who doesn't love having a nice dessert on a meal out or whatever? Yeah. But just look at your lifestyle, and look at how you eat it, and look at the habits. And habits is another huge thing we could spend all day talking about. But look at the habits surrounding the food that you eat, and can you change that? Because you have a cup of coffee, you have a biscuit or 2 or 3 or 4. You have that. You do this and you eat that. You do this, you have that. You have a beer and you have a big packet of crisps, or big bowl of peanuts or something. We all have triggers and habits around food. Yeah.
No, yeah, I know what you mean. So would you say fruit is good? Although, because there's sugar in that as well, isn't there? So some element, but not too much, or?
No, of course. I mean, fruit is great. And the thing is, eating a whole piece of fruit is great, because you're having the fibre within that to help the digestive system. I would say no more than 2 pieces of fruit to 5, 6, 7 vegetables a day. Okay. And we can talk about how you can get more vegetables into your diet if you like. But when it comes to fruit, again, people do kind of overthink it as well. Better to have fruit than sweets. So if you are having more than 2 pieces a day, but that's replacing some sweets you were having. That's a great first step. Okay, don't try to get from here to there.
Yeah.
You know, think of it as a journey when you're trying to cut things out or change the way you eat things, because people go on these crazy diets. They change a whole load of things in one fell swoop. They manage it for a week or maybe a weekend, and then it's like, oh, okay, I'm going back to what I was doing.
Yeah. I think it's also like human nature seems to be that if I really feel I'm depriving myself for too long, then I'll swing the other way. But kind of what I think, from what I hear you're saying, it's more the make better choices regularly and then have the dessert when you go out once a week or something like that. So it's not completely eradicating it. Like, the mindset has to change that if I'm going to be healthy, I have to eat all the things I don't want to eat. I have to cut out all the things I don't want to do, and I have to do all the exercise that I don't enjoy. That's not going to work, is it? Within it, there are elements of, you don't like running, so don't run. But there's other things you can do to kind of work your heart, to work your muscles and things like that. Go cycling, just have a bike ride or something like that. This is my perspective. Tell me if I'm wrong on that. But I think we do trip ourselves up so much by just framing it wrong, thinking that it has to be bad, and it doesn't. And it sounds to me like you've built quite a community of, particularly ladies, but you know, if ladies are healthy, guys can be healthy as well. I think ladies have a good influence within a home setting generally, with a general home setting, that it ripples through. Even if the guys do the cooking, the ladies might do the shopping. So, you know, the right sort of food's coming in the house. Whatever, let's not go too far down that. I might get emails and things with people complaining. But just, I think, whether there's guys listening to this, if they hear that you predominantly help ladies, they can still benefit, because most guys have at least one lady in their life, one way or another, be it a relative, be it their spouse or whatever. So guys can learn stuff as well for their own health, but also support the ladies with their health as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, you know, like you say, there's without wanting to sort of, you know, be sexist or anything, but it does happen that way. And a lot of the ladies are responsible for a lot of the food in the house, whether it's buying it or cooking it or whatever. But it's about, you know, it's about normalizing healthy eating, and say, not feel like you're punishing yourself. Maybe think about the whole 80-20 rule, and like, if you're eating well 80% of the time, then 20% of the time, yes, just enjoy it. And, you know, it's not feeling like you're depriving yourself. If you do want to, you know, dive to the bottom of a tub of Ben and Jerry's or whatever on a Friday night watching a movie, then yes, if you decide to do that, then enjoy it. You know, it's that whole, if you're going to feel guilty and rubbish afterwards, then don't put yourself through it. But if you're going to own it, then yes, just do it and own it and have, you know, enjoy it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of, there's so much overthinking around food, and so much, you know, calorie counting and macro counting and this diet and that diet. And it's just, it gets really confusing when you're trying to feed a family who are all eating different things. And there's a lot, you can overcomplicate it an awful lot. I don't count calories with my women. I don't say, we don't weigh protein. We don't, you know, get the scales out. We just, I mean, I'm a big fan of using, you know, the hand kind of principle when you're using your, if you want to, so, you know, the size of the palm is the size of the protein and that kind of stuff, cupped hands and carbs. But again, it's about just, what can I do to make this plate more vibrant, more colourful, more suitable to my lifestyle? So yes, if you're going to beast yourself in a workout, you want to be replacing, you know, some carbs and all the rest of it. But actually, if you haven't been particularly active in the day, ditch the carbs, crowd out the carbs with some vegetables, you know, spiralize some courgette, chop up some rice flour. It's very hard to overeat vegetables. So if you cram out your plate with a load of extra veg, you can easily, overeat pasta and bread and stuff. It's very hard to overeat a load of vegetables. But your body, especially as we're getting older, you know, a lot of the women I talk to are kind of in their 40s and 50s. And the men in their lives as well tend to be the similar sort of age. And it's vital that you're really supporting. You talk a lot about hormones on my courses, that you're supporting all the hormonal changes that are going in all our bodies. Yeah. And you need a good variety of colour to support all the hormones and to support your body. Think nutrition, think colour, think vibrancy, think what can I add? Not what can I take away and what can I take off my plate, but what can I add to my plate? If I'm making scrambled eggs, can I throw a handful of spinach in there and a couple of peppers and some mushrooms? If I'm having porridge, can I throw some chopped nuts on there? Can I throw some blueberries on there and bananas? If I'm having a bolognese, can I chuck some extra mushrooms, peppers, courgette? Don't follow the recipe. Just chuck some stuff in there. Get some colour, get some flavour, get some vibrancy on your plate.
Yeah, that sounds good. It's about being creative, isn't it? In the same way you pick certain things, sort of exercise activities that you feel more inclined to do or you enjoy more. It's being creative about, like you say, how can I exercise slightly while I'm brushing my teeth? Just kind of putting it into your daily habits, I think is really good. I think the more we get into the routine of doing something every day round about the same time, or memory pegs that help kind of trigger, oh yeah, I was going to do this. I mean, it does take a little bit of work to start with, doesn't it? But I guess that's part of the benefit of being on the 10-week plan, isn't it? That you've got that community around you. You are accountable to each other, and there's that support there as well to kind of help you stay on the course without just giving up, 2 days into it or something. So
yeah, it takes a while to form a habit, and it takes people build habits over 10, 20, 30 years of doing something. So being on a 10-week course isn't necessarily going to break that habit, but actually it goes a long way to breaking some of those habits. But again, people beat themselves up because they think, I should be able to just change overnight. But having the support of others is vital. But like you say, little things. I also have a 10-step more. Give it 10, Jen. Everything's in 10s for me. So I have a 10-step morning routine program as well, which is just a course that you can buy as a one-off course, but it just shows people perhaps how you can do some simple things in the morning that could just completely change your day. And that includes perhaps a 10-minute or a 10-second or a 10 repetition type workout. But, starting your day is vitally important as well. How you start your day is quite often how the rest of the day goes. So, having a bit of protein in the morning, making sure you're drinking a glass of water in the morning. Part of the 10-step challenge, 10-step morning program challenge is having a blast of 10 seconds of cold water in the shower. Big fan of cold water as well. Cold water showers, it's a huge part of, that's a whole other thing. We won't talk about cold water now, but yeah. It's
interesting you say that, actually. I was chatting to Katie, who is a coach, on one of the previous podcasts this very week, actually, that's just gone. And one of the things she does in the morning, she has a morning routine, which includes kind of meditation and getting ready for the day. And part of that is having a cold shower. I've not embraced that yet, I must admit. Not sure if I will. But no, it's interesting, though. 2 people within the same week have mentioned it. So
there's huge benefit behind it. But, you can do a give it 10. So have a normal shower and then blast 10 seconds cold water at the end of the shower.
Okay, yep. So 10 seconds, not 10 minutes. That's a good way to start as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's really good. Okay. So for people that are kind of thinking, right, I need to get this 10 stuff sorted out, what would be, before they sign up, and for everybody listening that's thinking, yeah, I really need to do this, definitely look into the programs that Jennie's running. Yeah, why wouldn't you? She's an expert. She knows what she's talking about. She's getting good results from everyone that's gone on the course. Lots of good feedback. But what would be some of the steps, like tonight or this morning, whenever people are listening to it?
Right.
Maybe they're not in the gym. Maybe they've had a long day. They're sat on the sofa. They've just had 2 pizzas and there's a tub of ice cream in front of them. But they're listening to us thinking, okay, 10 somethings. What shall I do? What would be just a couple of 10 activities or something, or 10 seconds of something as the first steps?
First steps is just simple things like I kind of alluded to at the start. Clenching your butt cheeks 10 times to work those glute muscles. We can do this. You can see me going up and down. It's a good job people can't see this right now, but we do that 10 times because we sit on our bums all day long. Those glute muscles go to sleep, but they're vitally, vitally important. But they go to sleep, you stand up, they're not working properly because they've been sat and squished on all day long. So other muscle groups start to take over. Hence, you get hip problems, knee problems, ankle problems, because you've got muscles, tendons, and ligaments taking over from the glutes. The glutes have gone to sleep, and then you get injuries in those lower limbs because you have weak glutes. So it's one of the first things I do with people is introduce some glute exercises. And one lady I work with was having trouble walking up the stairs. She enrolled in the program and was working on her glutes, and she actually had her hip problems went, her knee problems went. She could walk up the stairs, and she's like, no idea it was because I got weak bum. Yeah. You know, so literally, you know, you can sit, you can do it when you're in traffic lights, you can do it when you're watching telly, you can literally just clench your butt cheeks, hold for 10 seconds, let go, hold for 10 seconds, let go, do 10 clenches, you know, that sort of stuff. When you're feeling a bit stressed, literally just stand up and close your eyes, take 10 deep breaths, go outside, get some fresh air for 10 minutes, or take 10 deep breaths of fresh air outside. It's not all about necessarily exercise. Sometimes it's about stress reducing as well. And, you know, 10 minutes meditation. I love box breathing. I don't know if you've come across that before.
What's that? Cool.
Breathe. You breathe in, you breathe out. So you breathe in for the count of an amount. So you start with maybe 4 or 5 seconds. Then you hold it for 4 or 5 seconds. Then you breathe out for 4 or 5 seconds. Hold it for 4 or 5 seconds. Breathe in for 4 or 5 seconds. And you basically think of that box as 4 sides of the square. You know, breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold, breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold. But for the same amount each time. And people increase it up to about 10 or so seconds as you go, but that's a great one just to reduce the stress levels and get the calm back.
Okay.
Have a glass of water. I mean, that's not a Giveit10 necessarily, but go and have a glass of water. A couple of squats, like right now, if you were to stand up, if anyone was listening to this right now, literally just stand up and sit back down again. Do that 10 times. When people are out walking the dog, say if the dog's stopping and having a sniff at something, do 10 squats, do 10 lunges. One of my big ones that I say to people, and it sounds really simple, is literally stand up, get down on the floor, roll over, and stand back up again. And people go, well, that's not much. And I say, try doing that 10 times. And all of a sudden they're like, flipping heck, that was actually quite a challenge. Especially as when you stand up, you try and get up a slightly different way. Like when you get off of the floor, you'll notice that you always bring one leg up and put one hand down, and that's the way you push yourself up. But try bringing the other leg up and pushing up on the other hand. Or better still, try sitting there cross-legged and just push yourself up without putting your hands down. That's quite a telltale sign of how well your core stability and strength is. But that's a warm-up, even just doing that as a warm-up before you do an exercise routine. But imagine, this is what I said to someone recently, imagine if everybody in the world, that's all they did every day, was they got on the floor, they rolled over, they stood up, and they did that 10 times. I reckon that would save the NHS a fortune.
You could well be right there. Yeah.
It's simple little things. We clean our teeth every day. We spend 4 or 5 minutes cleaning our teeth every day. Why not, introduce a 10-minute workout, or even just a 4-minute, HIIT type routine a day can change your life. It really can. Yeah. No,
that's really good.
I try to post Giveit10 ideas on my Facebook. I go live on Facebook most days, trying to inspire people to do things. And
I was going to ask you, yes. You are on Facebook. So you do sort of the video interaction stuff as well. It's not just people turning up to a 10-week course kind of thing.
No, absolutely not. No, I have my Facebook group, Menopause Movement and Mindset. So obviously mostly ladies in there, but I give them recipes and workouts and stuff to do. But I also go live on my personal, just look up Jennie Edmondson and come and friend me. I go live most days, just trying to inspire people to move a bit more, think about what they're eating, just do a Giveit10. I'm more on Facebook than Instagram at the moment, just because it's overwhelming trying to do all the social media platforms.
Yeah. And you find kind of where your tribe are, really, don't you? Some people use certain platforms more than others. Others don't touch some. So you go where you can meet the people that you want to reach, really. So
absolutely. But from a business perspective as well, I think if you have a lot of staff that work for you, and I have a membership which is recipes and workouts. So within that, there's 15 recipes a month, and there's Giveit10 style workouts, including yoga and Pilates. That's a sort of thing that you could even get your staff doing. Just sign them up to the membership, and we're so focused on, we aren't focused enough probably on the health and wellness of our staff, but by doing simple things like providing them with ideas
Yeah.
And resources to look after their own health, business productivity source. It really does when you take care of this. But that could be a whole other podcast.
Yeah, but it's a good point, because if you get the whole team going, or maybe just a bunch of the ladies from the team, or whatever your team looks like, that in itself is a support group, isn't it? That they can help each other. The conversations, how did you get on with this? Did you do this? What have you tried? And all of that. So yeah, that in itself, I think, is a good kind of ingredient. I like the way that you've set it up, because you've got the program that kind of introduces people to doing the regular kind of simple or straightforward stuff over a 10-week period. There's a community around that kind of supports each other. You're also doing the daily kind of video and live things to kind of nudge and help people, because I think a lot of it is we want to do it, we just kind of regularly need that nudge, that encouragement, that reminder, really, that, oh yeah, I didn't do that today, I really want to. And all of that is really good in supporting the people that want to get healthy. So well done. Kudos to you. Keep it going. Definitely keep it going. So for people that want, they've heard enough and they think, right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. What's the best way for them to touch base with you first? Is it the Facebook site, or what would be the best way to reach out? Yeah,
absolutely. Well, I'm Go Health and Fitness, so you can find Jennie at gohealthandfitness.co.uk, or check out the website with the services. Come and join me on Facebook, Jennie Edmondson. I have Jennie Edmondson as a business page, but also me as an individual. My Menopause Movement Mindset Facebook group is a great community to come and get involved and start sharing some ideas, recipes and workouts. I guess that's the best way to get hold of me.
Okay, no, that sounds really good. Yeah, so we've kind of run out of time now, but yeah, it's really good that there's a way that people can connect with you and go forward. So for everybody that's listening, definitely put some of the practical things that we've discussed and mentioned today into being. When you brush your teeth, if not before, when you brush your teeth, pick something that you're going to do. But also, just start crafting out a plan of habits. What can I do to implement some of these things? And have a conversation with Jennie. Get involved. Watch the videos. Get involved with the group if you're a lady. If you're a guy, ask your lady if she would be interested, or your female family members. I'm not going to go any further in that direction again. We all know somebody.
There are a couple of guys in the group.
Okay, well, good on them, because they've carried on regardless of being a minority, and maybe some of the other guys can get involved. I think health and fitness, it affects all of us, doesn't it, in a positive way or lack of it in a negative way. And then it has a knock-on effect with our loved ones and the family, and we can't do the things that we really want to do, the goals that we set within business or the family life that we want to build and support. That's why we've got the business a lot of the time. If we excel in the business and we miss out on our health and the family's health, then what have we really achieved? What have we really got the balance right? So we do need help regularly, I think, with regards to pointers on things to eat, how best to exercise, integrating it into the demands of life, as you say, and the businesses, and however involved we are with that. And if you can, talk to your friends about it, get them involved as well, have that kind of accountability, or do something together, go for a walk together, ride a bike together, or something like that will help you get out of the house, will help you leave your laptop or whatever it is that's occupying most of your time in how you run your business, and get your team involved as well. There's great benefit in building a community that enjoy working out, enjoy the positive sides, the benefits. Like, our bodies reward us for doing the right sort of exercise, don't they, with dopamine and things like that. So it's certainly not a bad thing, but we have to be proactive in making it part of our routine. And Jennie's here to help. So yes, definitely get involved with everything that she's doing. Find out more on her Facebook. There will be a link below to get through to the Facebook as well. So that's nice and easy. Right, we're going to close this episode for now. But thanks again, Jennie, for sharing all of your wisdom over the years and your insight in how things have gone on your journey for now. It's been really good chatting to you. And for everybody listening, yes, stay positive, stay proactive, and we will catch you on the next episode. So bye for now.
Thank you for listening to Yeukai Business Show. We will be back to bring you more episodes with success stories and advice straight from the experts. Want more? Check out www.yeukai.businessshow.com. Get your free trial of our virtual assistant service today. Just visit www.worldoutsourcingsolutions.com. Quote WOS18 or send us an email at support@worldoutsourcingsolutions.com.